So you're brand new to acting and you were just offered an opportunity to audition. Congratulations, great. You know you have to memorize lines, but do you know all of the other steps you have to take before presenting your audition? It's called an audition checklist. Stick around, I'll tell you all about it. The first point to consider is, are you willing to play that role and are you available for those dates that the role is being shot? So, considering the role, is there thematic issues you're sensitive about, language issues, intimacy issues? This stuff doesn't come up very often, but I need to speak it out loud for you to hear because it can present itself and you don't want to say yes to a role only to think about it and then decline later. It makes you look flaky. When it comes to dates, sure, you've made yourself available, but double check. Make sure that wasn't the weekend of a reunion or when your boss said you absolutely could not take time off on that weekend. Just make sure your schedule is clear and you're willing to play that role. And then the very next thing you do after that is you confirm with your agent that you're accepting that audition. Your agent has a lot to do, and the last thing they need to worry about is following up with actors who aren't getting back to them on time. The next step I would recommend is to research the director and the production staff. They are the creative vanguard of the project, and it would behoove you to know what their prior projects were so you can understand what types of artists they are. It also helps you in a conversational sense if you end up meeting them in a callback, or if you're lucky enough to have your first audition in the room, you have something to talk about. If you legitimately liked a project that they've done in the past, it's a good opportunity to say, hey, I really enjoy your work. You might have something in common, something to talk about besides the audition itself or yourself. It's also very important for the actor to research the unknowns in the script and or sides that they're auditioning with. If you don't know how to pronounce the words or the meaning of the words that you're using in your audition, you're doing something wrong. For example, do you know what octogenarian means? If not, look it up. Do you know how to pronounce this word? If not, look it up. If you're playing a character from Burnett, Texas, but you're pronouncing it Burnett, you did not do your research. Crucially important. The next thing for an actor to consider is wardrobe and hairstyle. It may be time to get a little trim on the hair, time to shave. Maybe you need a sport coat for this audition, or a sundress, or a certain colored blouse. The point is to have it set and ready and clean, dry cleaned, whatever you need for audition day so that on that day you're not scrambling around and settling for something less. If you are an actor who doesn't use costume pieces, at least have wardrobe that you feel confident and you feel that you look good in. Have all this prepared so that you don't have to think about it on audition day. Another very important thing to remember is to adhere to the directions on the email from casting to a T. They're going to specify some pretty specific instructions. Each casting office is different. They like their video files labeled in a certain way. Maybe there's 3 scenes you're auditioning for, but they want those in separate files. Or they want all the audition on one file, but the slate on a separate file and labeled accordingly. There's any number of different directions that you could get in how to approach the role. You want to make sure you see everything they're saying, everything they're requesting, and present it to them as they ask. The audition process over the decades has evolved to a point where we now present our auditions electronically for the most part. We're sending them in via email. So to be able to do this, you need to record it yourself. And how you do that is you get yourself a reader. And who the reader is someone who's going to do the scene with you, not on camera. They're going to be off camera and feeding you lines. And you need to be able to have a good rapport, somebody who has a decent voice, who can do it, not someone who's sitting there reading, like, you know what I'm saying? You need somebody who can actually keep up with you a little bit so that it doesn't slow you down. Now, when it comes to how to record it, if you don't have a DSLR camera like I do, you can use your phone. Now, the mistake most people make is they hold their phone like they're always holding it and kind of like a rectangle straight up and down like that. That's not how you do it. You turn it to the side so that you have this shape. What you're looking at me right now, that's known proportionally as 16 by 9. That's the same shape as your TV in your home. It's the same shape as the movie screen at the theater. That's how you want to present your audition, is turning your phone to the side. Phones are fine. They now shoot high def. That's fine, but you probably need a stand or a clip, something to hold it into place. Use that. I have a diffusion light right here. It doesn't have to be anything that fancy, but you do need to make sure that you're lit properly. Have a background that is flat and empty. It could be just a simple wall. I have a photo backdrop here in shades of gray. It looks good for skin tones if you want to drop for that. But otherwise, a blank wall is fine. Just don't have picture frames, windows, plants, different things, you know, there as distractions. So those are the keys to presenting your audition in a professional looking manner. And one last point I'm going to leave you with is, if you do have an opportunity to get into the room with the director and producers, likely in a callback, like I said, sometimes, rarely, the very first audition is still live. But if you do have a live audition, I would recommend to have something to talk about in case they ask you, like, hey, tell us about yourself, or something like that. Have something so that you're not frozen. Or something that happened that day, or a project that you're working on, or just something. Have it ready, because it could come up and you have a lot on your mind. You're thinking about the character and all that, but just have a little in your reserve tank for something to talk about. Folks, I hope you learned a thing or two today. I love sharing my experience with you all. My name is Chris. This is Olson Acting, and I will see you next time.